Welcome back to the homestead. We're in my kitchen today. If you're new here, this is Bucket List Homestead. My name is Lynn, and today it's all about the blueberry again. And blueberry is truly, it's my favorite fruit, and I'm sure it's because I was raised in the blueberry state of Maine, and of course our blueberries are different than the blueberries we have here. Just a little little story. When we first moved to Ontario and we went blueberry picking, I thought we were going to go rake like we did, you know, in Maine when we were kids. And they're high bush blueberries here, and they're great for eating, and I've learned to bake with them, but I still love the wild blueberries, especially for baking. I find the high bush blueberries bleed a lot more, and they're just so big. So I do buy wild blueberries frozen at Costco, usually about once a year, and I try to save them for baking. And then once I run out of them, I use the high bush blueberries. But that being said, the high bush blueberries are great for pie. They're great for jelly and jam, and they're great for dehydrating. They're good for a lot of other things. So the family and I went blueberry picking on the weekend, and we picked 4, 8, what was it, 6, 12, 18, 18 liters of high bush blueberries at our very favorite U-Pick farm, Brambleberry Farm. And I've said this before, they are literally a 5-minute drive down the road from us, and they have so many things to pick. We'll be going back several times through the summer to get our cherries. They're also doing snap peas, green and yellow beans, things like that. So we'll be coming back here very, very much so throughout the summer to do some more picking. And I already started the day I picked, I dehydrated some blueberries, which you see me doing here. I made some blueberry extract. I'll show you that in a second, what it looks like. And I froze a bunch, which you're seeing right here. I don't freeze these on a tray like I would strawberries. I find you don't need to with blueberries. You certainly can do that if you want, but they break up pretty easily. And I saved them in 1 cup these hold exactly 1 cup, because that's what most recipes call for. I am going to freeze some in 2-cup increments also, just because some recipes, or if I want to double anything, I'll have a 2-cup measurement ready to go. So these are some of the dehydrated blueberries that I dehydrated a couple days ago. I put oxygen absorber in here because these are, I didn't dry them right to nothing like until they're hard. I want them chewy for homemade trail mix, just like what I did with cherries a couple weeks ago. Here's the blueberry extract. This is the easiest thing in the world to make. You get some vodka, rum, whichever alcohol you want. This happens to be vodka, a Canadian brand actually. I put maybe half a cup of blueberries, squished them a little bit, and poured until it was filled. And that's it. And this has only been a couple of days, and it's already a gorgeous color. I will strain this in a couple of weeks after it sat a little while, actually a couple of months after it sat for a while. I'll strain this and then put it back in this container, just because there's little bits of blueberry floating around. So yeah. So we did that. I think that's, and then obviously I froze them. So today it's all about blueberry jelly or jam and blueberry pie filling. So I have an appointment in a little bit, so we're definitely going to get to the jelly, and I'll probably get to the blueberry pie filling when we come back. So this is a double batch because it's probably the only jelly I'm making this summer, because we have so much other jams and jellies still on the counter. I shouldn't say that. I did make dandelion and lilac earlier in the spring, but as far as a fruit, this will be the only one I'm going to make because we have so much still. We're not eating as much jelly as we used to. I do eat it in my yogurt a lot, especially in the winter to help flavor my plain yogurt. And I tend to go for the blueberry. It's my favorite. So I'm making a double batch, which is good timing because I literally opened my last jar this morning of blueberry jam. So I already have some things ready just to save some time. I have in here 8 cups of blueberries, a 1/4 cup of lemon juice, and I should mention I'm going to be using my favorite, Pomona's pectin. So I've got 2 cups of sugar and 4 teaspoons of the Pomona's pectin in there, and in here I have 4 teaspoons of the calcium water. So I'm just going to add that to our blueberries. We're going to get these cooking. Dun, dun, dun. And as they cook, I'll mash them a little bit. I find they mash up a lot easier once they start heating up. This is coming to a boil. We're going to add our sugar and pectin mixture. And I love Pomona's because, as you can see, this is a double batch, and I'm still only using 2 cups of sugar. So, and I use organic cane sugar, if anyone's wondering. And this smells like blueberry. So we're going to bring this to a boil. And make sure I got the right burner on. Yes, okay. So while that is going to boil, I have my canner. I'm going to turn it back up. I brought it to a boil and then I turn it down. And I also have all my jars in a 200-degree oven. They've been in there for quite a while actually, so I'm just going to turn that off. And I am using our favorite 4-jar lids, absolute favorite lids. And if you use my code Bucket List Homestead at 4jars.com or 4jars.ca, you get 10% off your order, and that's even if they're on sale. And they also have gym size lids now in Canada and the US, so yay! Also have my mat. Where is it here? My canning mat, ready to go, because remember, we don't put anything hot. This is wood, so I probably would be okay, but I also don't want to get stains on my island. So I have my mat, I have my jar lifter ready to go. This will have vinegar in it in just a second to wipe our lids. I've washed all my lids and rings. So now it's just a matter of getting this to a boil so we can add the sugar and the pectin. I'll bring the jars out in just, once I add the sugar and pectin, I'll bring my jars out. So we were ready to ladle them up. Okay, we're boiling, and we're slowly going to add our sugar and our pectin. And we're going to want to boil, bring it to a boil again and cook it for 1 to 2 minutes or until the pectin dissolves. I find it takes the 2 minutes. Okay. It's all dissolved, so we're just going to get set up over on the island and fill our jars. Now this recipe that's in the Pomona's cookbook, it yields 4, and I doubled it. So I find she's pretty accurate with how many you'll get. So, but I have extras just in case, and I did a couple of small ones because sometimes there's just a little bit left that won't fit in quite a full jar. And we're just going to go, and I think it's a 1/4. Let me see. I always forget what jam is. 1/4 inch, yep. So I'm just going to keep going, and then we're going to put this in the canner. And I also meant to tell you I have a shelf, a metal shelf. It actually went to my pressure canner in the bottom of my canner, so my jars won't be on bare metal. And I find I like that better than the rack thing. So technical, but the rack that came with my canner, I'm not a big fan of that. So I just prefer to use that shelf. So these go into the canner for 10 minutes at my elevation. So make sure you check yours. jars. I got the blueberry jam done before I had to go for my appointment. And then we ended up doing a ton of errands. So now we're back. It's actually supper time, but supper is a freezer meal tonight. So I'm going to get to that in a few minutes. I want to get the rest of these blueberries done and finish this video for you all. So, like I said, the jam is done. So now I'm going to make blueberry lemonade concentrate. I'm using the same recipe I used to make my strawberry lemonade concentrate, which by the way is amazing. A little sweet. So I'm adjusting the recipe. Probably not the best thing to do, so do as I say, not as I do. You should follow the recipe, and I will link the recipe for the strawberry lemonade concentrate down below. I'm using less sugar. So, but it has so much lemon juice in it that I'm not worried about. Sorry, my thing was slipping. I'm not worried about not having enough acid in this. Plus, blueberry has some acid too. So, anyway, like I say, do as I say, not as I do. So I have taken 7 cups of blueberries and pureed them in my Ninja. And I have 4 cups of lemon juice in the pot already. And I have 3 cups of sugar set aside. And this is lemon juice that I juiced and froze last winter. So we're going to take this over to the oven. They said there's 4 cups of lemon juice in here. And we're just going to pour in. That might be too thick to pour, is it? Here it comes. Come on. All right, we're going to take off the lid. And be careful with the blade. So as I'm editing this video, I remembered a couple of things I wanted to mention in the video that I forgot. One, I wouldn't use my Ninja blender again. I would just blend everything in the pot. Recording and cooking or canning or whatever it is, apparently I can't do 2 things at once, because if I just stopped to think, that's what I would have done. I would have used my immersion blender and just blended it all in there instead of using my Ninja, so I had another appliance to clean. Second, which you'll see in a little bit, it wasn't because I filled the jars too much. I mean, I did fill my jars a little bit too much because, like I say, I am terrible about headspace. I did not leave them in the canner long enough after they canned to settle a little bit. So I took them from too soon into a different temperature, and that's why I had a siphoning problem. I only had one who didn't seal, and I redid him this morning, and he's fine now. So, yeah, make sure, I was trying to get another batch done, so that's why I rushed. So make sure you let your jars sit for at least 10 minutes after they've canned before you take them out and put them on your canning mat. Actually, we're going to add the sugar first. Okay, so there's the sugar. And I have my thermometer. We want it at, not about, at 190 degrees Fahrenheit. We are there. Okay. And just like with the jelly, I'm just gonna leave a 1/4 inch headspace in the jars. Wipe the rims with vinegar. Ooh, those are hot. And put them in the water bath canner. I have to double check, but I think it's 20 minutes that I have to water bath. So I'll So while the jelly is almost done here, I'm gonna get this going. So this is 2 1/4 cups of Sure Gel, and boy, was that hard to find. I finally found it on Amazon. I'll link it down in the description box. So I'm adding that to 7 cups of cold water and 7 cups of organic cane sugar. And we're just gonna turn that down, let that sit for a few minutes, and I'll actually turn it off for a minute. Okay. So yes, 2 1/4 cups of Sure Gel, 7 cups of cold water, 7 cups of organic cane sugar. We're going to give that a stir and get that cooking. And this is our blueberry Gloop, Goop, Slurry, whatever you want to call it. This is going to be that for our blueberries. And the Sure Gel is what's recommended for canning. I have used tapioca starch, I think it was, last year, and it worked fine in my apples and blueberries, but I was able to find this. That was hard to find too. So we need to get this all dissolved and cooking for a good minute, and then we're going to add a 1/2 cup of bottled lemon juice at the end after this is boiled for a minute, and then we'll add 9 pounds of blueberries. So this is insanely thick, so now we're going to add our 1/2 cup of bottled lemon juice. And we're going to start adding the blueberries. I'm going to turn this down. That is very thick. I almost want to know if I should add a little more water. I think I'm going to put another cup of water. Let's see if that thins it out a bit, because that is very, very thick. That's about 2 cups of water. So altogether, I now have 9 cups of water roughly in here. I really want this thinned. And I'm going to add the blueberries. Wow, that's really thick. Never used the Sure Gel before. I've watched lots of videos where they use it. I really hope that's what it's supposed to look like. Okay. This is going to be fun trying to stir this. Maybe I should have got out the big pot. And I got my bigger canner out because I wasn't thinking this morning about the quart jars. And I got to add some more water to that actually. I just dumped the water from the other canner into that. But the other canner's not tall enough for all those quarts. Okay, so we're going to stir this all up. Right. So those only stayed on, oh, that's really thick. Those only stayed on the stove long enough for me to stir it all in. And now I'm putting them in. And I gotta tell you, this stuff is insanely thick. And I think it's gonna make more than 6 quarts. Okay, new recipe. Interesting. Never used Sure Gel before. I don't know if I ever will again, quite frankly. Oh, wow. Okay. About a 1/4 head space. And we're just going to keep going. More than 6. And it tastes good. I tasted it, so it's really good. Just very, very, very thick pie filling. Okay, so I wiped all the rims really well because this is very sticky. Make sure nobody has any goop on their into the water bath canner where they're quarts for for my elevation. So a little confession, I am terrible about headspace. I thought I did good with a quarter, but as you can see, we have seepage, so siphoning. So hopefully these will still seal. We're gonna let everything sit for 24 hours and then we'll check the seals tomorrow. If they don't, I will have to redo them all. It's not a big deal, but it is a big deal because it's more work and I should have known better. So I had to do it in 2 batches because I could only fit 6 in my canner. I did 5 just so I could have 3 in the other canner. So yeah, I stink at headspace. So there we go. And I used every pint of blueberries we picked. And we'll probably, the kids and I, David has a course this weekend that he's taken. So the kids and I will probably go down and pick just a couple more pints because I do want some more frozen and we need some more for fresh eating. And they also have pick your own peas ready down there. So we might even pick some peas for supper this weekend. So thanks for coming along with me on everything blueberry today. And everything is stained now too. When you work with blueberries, everything gets stained. Till then, take care, God bless, and we'll see you all soon.